So, hi everyone, how are you? I'm currently in my fourth year pursuing Bachelor's of Technology from Graphic Era Hill University, Dehradun campus. So, today I'll give you an introduction to generative AI and all the various features that we have there. And I'll also give you some of the hands on experience, not much because then it will be too much of technicalities to understand. And then we'll have a session where we talk about, like, you'll ask questions and we'll talk about the future of AI and how we as software engineers will work with AI because that is what we have to do now. We have to work in line with AI to work in this ecosystem. Okay, so generative AI first was just an intro about what is generative AI. So generative AI, what basically is generative AI? So generative AI focuses mainly on the generative part. The AI is not only generative. I should clarify that we have different ways, different functionalities of artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and other various parts. Generative AI is basically the part that mainly focuses on the generative part. We have to generate new things out of it. So it generates new data out of resembling existing data. Okay, so the key techniques will be GAN, transformation models. So I'll give you a basic overview of these three. Like you don't have to get much deep into it. That is basically work of PhD holders and the scholars and researchers. So the first thing, GAN, is generative adversarial network. So what it does, it plays like a game. So you can imagine like we have a generator and a discriminator. Generator will generate something and the discriminator will identify if it's real or not. And this game keeps on going. The generator generates and the discriminator discriminates if it's real or not. And at one point, when the discriminator cannot discriminate if it's real or something generated by the artificial intelligence, so then we would say that yes, we have created something that cannot be discriminated, and that is our result. Okay, so the transformer is used for text. So basically, the thing that happens is we only can see the context in sequence, like what was before it and what will be after it. So the transformer puts all the data in a vector plane called the attention layer. If you have any idea of machine learning, we have neural networks. So we keep it there, and then we don't have the context only in sequence, but we have context of the entire data, and that helps us give us a more robust answer. Okay, so diffusion models are a really quite counterintuitive way to generate something. We take an image that is an image, and then we add noise to it. So basically, we would like make it more blur and more blur and more blur, and the diffusion model makes it so much blur that at a point it cannot recognize it anymore. And then we apply reverse engineering with reverse blur by removing the noise, and that is how we generate new stuff. Okay, so these three are the basic foundations of generative AI, and popular example would be like use case of former is ChatGPT, which is used to extract text, DALI image creation, which is a diffusion model which uses diffusion. Okay, so we have to say generative AI impacted, as you might have seen, AI as a whole and generative all of years has impacted every domain of like our lives. Okay, every aspect of our lives has been impacted or like in some way affected by AI. But the three main domains, three main areas where it has affected industry a lot, like on an industry level, it has impacted entertainment, healthcare, and finance. So entertainment, as we have know, we can create basically what the type of content that mainly the youth consumes is a short form of content. Okay, so short form content like YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels and all of that, and that can generated by generative AI, mix of generative AI very easily. Like you can just create an audio of it with AI, include images and scenes with AI, can all be done with generative AI. Healthcare. Okay, so healthcare is something that doesn't like come to where would generative AI use healthcare, but when in the work of researchers, so like most of people when they get into make models like brain cancer detection and all of that. So to generate models that would create new models, like we can't like actually see some things. Okay, so like we have data and imagine we have a data of a brain, how brain looks, and we have an image of a brain. So taking that into reference, we can, with the data of how other species brains might be, we can create a model what their brain would look like. Okay, that was an example of impact on healthcare. On finance, I would say it's basically used in data analysis. Like we could test on various forms of data and how we would create that data. Like the main problem that we had with data science and machine learning was to collect data. the collection of data was a very integral and very time consuming part of learning and data science. So like now we can just generate our data. Right? We just want that this is the type of data that we want and we would generate it. Okay. So it would be suggest you not to get too much into the mathematical domains, but it's just a basic overview of what you should know. So the programming skills, the most important thing, like most of like more than 95 to 99% of the people work with machine learning or AI and generative AI use Python because it's very intuitive and it's the code is understandable and you don't have to write too much. So of course, Python is the language of choice while doing generative AI. Other than that, mathematical foundations, I would suggest to have a basic idea, but not get too much into the mathematical domains of it. And that would be linear algebra, calculus, and probability. So we have to like probability is something that you should do, could get into, like how to generate and what should be the trade-off while generating new data. Okay, but don't get too much into mathematical foundations. That's something like PhD holders and the scholars. Machine learning basics, familiarity with data pre-processing. Data pre-processing is like one of the most important and integral parts, be it machine learning, deep learning, or AI and generative AI, because we have to make data that would be understandable. Like when we train, we have to make data that would be easily understandable by the machine and we can take insights from. So data processing is not only just a part of machine learning, it is a very important part of generative AI. Okay, so you have to key frameworks like Google Colab. So the key tools basically Google Colab and LangChain. I'll show you functioning of in the hands-on experience. I'll show you how LangChain is used on Jupyter Notebooks, which is also Google Colab and Jupyter Notebooks are somewhat the same thing that is just hosted on Google's cloud, and the Jupyter Notebook is you can implement it locally. AI libraries. So a very important thing would be in machine learning or in generative AI would be to understand how the deep learning neural networks work, and that would be TensorFlow and PyTorch are good libraries that implement neural networks. So it's better to know how that works. Okay, so by using transformer diffusion models, we basically only use neural networks. Okay, so the learning resources I would tell you at the end too, but if you want to learn more theoretical, Coursera would be a good choice. And if you want to like code fast and fast, the fast.ai is a really good website to learn generative AI and research papers. So I have always emphasized very much, and I can't emphasize it more, that whenever you learn something, I know it takes a lot of time and it isn't so much fun, but when you are learning something like that is so much research intensive, like machine learning or AI in general, that's so much research intensive. You always should refer to research papers before referring to YouTube videos or Google blogs or to research papers. And the basic foundational research paper that I really like is Attention is All You Need. It will give you like the overall basic idea of what generative AI is and how to implement it in creative industries. So one of the very major things, the talk of the town kind of, is how is generative AI in the creative industry. And I believe generative AI can do creative things, can do various creative things, and people have that issue with it, right? That we thought a few like we would be doing all the creative work and the robots and machine would be doing the menial tasks and all of that. But I am here to tell you that, assure you somewhat, that the generative part that AI does will help us and it cannot replace us. Imagine like you would have asked ChatGPT to create a website. It can only like create an HTML, CSS, or JavaScript, cannot ensure the pipelining, the scalability, all the other part. And that is something that if you learn WebD for a week, you will be able to make those kind of code. You will be able to write those kind of code. So you have to work with AI in that, and the creative part is the menial task that we all do can be replaced with AI. So some resources would be, some hands of resources are interactive learning, like obviously Coursera, edX can be used for mastering generative AI, and we can engage in products, in projects, GitHub and AI hackathons to deepen all of the learning, and the essential is all you need. Yeah, the research paper, as I said. So before going further, I will show you some codes on how chatbot works and replicate. On the chat, tell me like, what should I do first? How chatbot works using LangChain or like generate images or audio? Yeah, if you have any doubts, first you can ask them. Then I'll show you some codes, like hands-on experience on some codes. Okay, how chatbot works with LangChain, generate images. Okay, anyone else? Anyone have any suggestions on what I do first, or any questions or queries you want to ask me? So should I go further? When I have any doubt, LangChain is LangChain JS. So basically, LangChain is an open source product or a software, and LangChain JS they implement implementation on JavaScript. We can embed it into websites and we can embed the functionalities of LangChain into our JavaScript code. So it's a functionality of LangChain. Should I go further with showing you the code if no one has any doubts? So I'll show text to image models first, okay? And Replicate. Does anyone of you know Replicate? Replicate is basically a site or a platform where we host various type of models. People can create models and host them, where we have various text to speech and image generate. See, Replicate is a platform where we can use various image generate text, generate music, generate speech, restore images. Okay, this is a platform where we can do all of that. And basically, when we use in our programming or in scale, do it from here, from it implemented in a code to do anything in a scale or in a large number of images want. We do it with the implementation on Jupyter notebooks, mainly Google notebooks. So I'll show you a functionality of it. Okay, so first of all, you have to create an key. So it's some of it are paid and some of it are free. Okay, so you have to check that which is free and which is paid. First thing that you do, create an API token. Okay, so you will all, and when you work hands-on, you will have to create an API token which will be generated in Replicate. Show you how to create an API. See, when you create an ID, you will have a functionality here to create an API token. We'll just create an API token. You will give it a name and create token, and it will give you token here. Okay, after logging into your account, you can create API from here, and then you can just save it somewhere. Okay, API token you have to save somewhere. You can create an API token from there, and after that, I'll do now the code. Okay, so this is I wrote for people I'm working as an intern. So we were comparing all the various text to image models on Replicate. First is to get, and you can also, you have to use the Replicate token. So here I have write a code, the OS model, we can interact with the operating system, this help of model, and the get pass model, I'll show you what the get pass model does. The get file input my API token here. Okay, so this is when we upload your notebooks and everything on GitHub, anywhere you share it. Don't share your API token with that. That is why we use this functionality, and I've inserted my API token and hard coded. It is not hard coded into the code, so no one else can see it. So I import Replicate. This is, you can give it a read. I created some prompts to check all the other things that we do. Okay, this was the prompt, a desk key, and then I created prompts on different areas and different things. Okay, so one prompt would be in the 1980s, a black woman in her 20s using a machine gun or something. The other would be in the age 2055 when a young boy. So to test how accurate is that. So this is how we implement. I'll show you. When you go to your model dashboard, you see models. Okay, so this is the various models. Okay, I'll show you. I want to generate image. I'll show you how you will get the code to run the model. Okay, so it's using four-step lightning, right? So see, this model I selected from here. I go to Python. Okay, this is what I did. I installed Replicate and pasted my API token, imported Replicate, and this is what we copy. Okay, this is the part we copy of our code. This we copy here, and then we paste it on this. And this is, I changed the prompt. I changed the prompt with number 1 here. This prompt. I changed the prompt, generate something. It's generated. So it is an image that is generated. See, this is the image that is generated right now. Okay, and what was the prompt? In a dusty plains of a military camp during the 1980s, a black woman in her late 20s, olive green, fatigue, stand focused, there's a large machine gun at a distant target, and I'll give a detail of the scene. So see how accurate this is, right? There is a woman, there is a desert and everything. You can do the same in this second prompt. I changed the prompt 1 to prompt 2. See, this is what we get for the prompt of in 2025. An Asian boy stands in a holographic lit platform in futuristic city park. To see a hologram of futuristic city part, an Asian boy, the air looks like it's a distant future. Okay, so this is all the things that we have done. And it's my code is basically getting all the other models and seeing that how is the output, what is the pricing. Anyone wants this code to explore and learn more, they just ping me, I'll send it over. Okay, like anyone has any issue in this, like how did we generate, how do we use Replicate? Okay, I'll send you the codes afterward. If everyone wants it, I'll forward it to Raja, or I'll send it in the group, or I'll upload it. The best thing I can do is I will upload it on GitHub and then I'll share the GitHub repo. Okay, so should I move further or should I show you more examples on Replicate? Okay, so how is this comparing? So see, that is something that I am doing. See, basically what I did was in this code, I generated 5 different types of prompts. So like basically what I was given the task to do to do the R&D on the various replicate image generation models for the product that I was working. So I created five different kind of prompts that are set on different locations, different time, or different time frame, different ethnicity, different gender. So I inculcated all of that in this five. Okay. So and then I used various models. See, this is the first model. I generate the five images, and then I come. This is the second model. I said what is the pricing and how's the output, and I gave the link. And this is, and then I generate all the images for five of them. Then I use the third model, and so on and so forth. I for the five prompt, I used all the different models that were there that I thought would give a good result. See, this didn't give any output, so I just wrote use this model. It was to no good. Okay, so this is how I was comparing. So if I can even show you something of what I compared. So this was how I stored it. See, TTI model result. This was all the models, and this was how I stored it for like reference. If someone else would see the code, they see the images. Okay, this is how I stored it. Okay, any questions on TTI models, text to image models on replicate? See, first I imported all the various LangChain modules. Okay, this is something that we have to see, which is our dependency, our system and the dependencies, the first of Python. According to that, we install the package. Then I install Lang. That is just the installing the packages. This is I installed LangChain with OpenAI. When you use LangChain, there also you have an API. Okay, and that you have to use for your LangChain. See, mainly on most of the generative AI thing, we will always on any platform we will have an API. That's how they will monitor because it's a very sensitive thing, right? And it also costs them money. So they will have to monitor your usage and what you use it for because you can generate anything. So they always have some to track you. So this is something that we get in LangChain. This is mainly just have to create an API token. You don't have to about it, right? This is when in people work industries, they see the progress and the dashboard and the data sets and experiments. Like this is something that we don't need to worry about right now as learners. Okay, so I passed my API key like I did on Replicate. I passed my OpenAI, and also you will have to create an ID on OpenAI Playground and create an API key there. You will use as far as I can remember, and it's like way too much. Like for your learning, it's way too much. So you don't have to worry about that. We'll give you a million. Okay, so see what I did here was I from LangChain core I imported human message. So basically the thing is there is a system message, human message. Okay, so system message is instructions. When we use ChatGPT, we instruct it, right? We say give me this summarizes that. That goes to the system instructions. The human message is what they see. If I say hi, I am Bob, just the AI returns the message, AI message. It will be hi Bob, simple, normal, small talk. Okay? See, so but the AI does not remember anything. Okay, right now it does not remember anything. So if I ask it, what's my name? Say sorry, I do not have the ability to know your name because inculcated or added a thing of like history that it should remember but who we were and what we were. Okay, so like here we haven't included history but we have it given it in the same invitation, right? I am Bob. The AI message would be hi, how can I assist you? What's my name? So it knows right now that what's your name is. Okay, so it gave you your name is Bob, and then how we include history. So see, these are things that you don't actually have to remember. You will just Google it or the documentation of the LangChain. We'll just see what are all the models to use history. Okay, so you don't have to remember base chat model history in memory. You just have to know that there are models that are used to enhance our models to get the functionality of history. You just have to know that, and then you have to just Google it or see the documentation. So you don't have to remember all these things. So what basically it does is it creates a dictionary that will store the ID of our session. It will create a session ID and store it. Okay, and we made a function that with message history, it will get the ID and the model. Okay, so with message history, I say, hi, I am Bob. What's my name? See, now it knows because I created a session ID. In the config, I created a session ID session one. So create a session ID session one. Now it uses that session ID to remember who am I. See, your name is Bob. It remembers because this is the session that we're using. That's how we use the feature of history. Okay, if I change the session, see here I changed the session. I created a different session and now I change the session back to it. See, what's my name? Sorry, I do not have access to personal information such as names because it is not that session. So it does not have any history of what I input last. Okay, so then I create my session back to it. Your name is Bob. Okay, does any one of you have any doubt in this? What it's doing and why we are using history and how it uses the functionality of sessions to differentiate. So chaining. So the second part is chaining. And again, okay, you have to remember all this. Which model you have to import, which library you have to import. You never have to remember these names. You just have to remember that there is a model that is used for this, and then you just have to Google it. What was the name of the model and how do we import something to give the prompt that we tell our assistant AI that what you are and what you do. Okay, so the system prompt is you'll tell the assistant, I said you are assistant, answer all your questions to best of your ability. So if I change it something, let's say you are a funny assistant, all the questions, I'll change it and I just told my system that AI that you are somewhat funny and you in your answers you always include humor in it. Okay, and then I'll create a chain. Chain is basically a thing that we create. We'll use the model that is the base model. We create a chain through which a model will go. Since we create a chain, our model will first go through the prompt, then it will go to the model. Okay, that's how we use the functionality of chaining. This represents that it will first go to the prompt, then with the message of the prompt, then it will with this message it will go to the model to give you the answer. Okay. See, so I changed it. You are a funny assistant. Answer with humor. So see what is the response. Hi Bob. Are you sure you are not a computer pretending to be human named Bob? Nice try. Okay, so it included humor in it. So that's you can just give the system whatever you want. You can see that I want this and you are this, and give me responses like this, and that's how responses would change. Okay, and then we create a new ID. When I said I am Jim, create a new ID. So I'm Jim. I'm your trusty assistant here to provide you with hilarious responses. How can I help you today? Okay, and now you can do other things, right? Like you can write anything. Okay, so see, I asked what is linear algebra, and since it is a funniest, so it gives you a funny answer, a humorous answer. And you can ask any questions, and it will give me with the system prompt that what kind of answer it would require it to do, and it will give you an answer according to that. Okay, and I can create languages. Language build upon OpenAI and Meta, so it has more functionalities than that. So you can always see you can include a language here. Okay, I'll include a language as Spanish. I don't know what it is, but it's Spanish. I'll take its word for that. It's Spanish. Okay, so this is what it do. So trimming is basically just a concept you shouldn't see. I'll tell you trimming is not so important for you. Okay, streaming is basically a concept where the models that generate the ideas gives you individual token in a form of a stream. So basically when you are using ChatGPT, it does not wait for like 30 seconds and then give you the answer. It just starts generating the answers. So streaming is something to engage the user and give the answers simultaneously. So imagine if the ChatGPT would wait for 30 seconds and give you an answer. You are 30 seconds setting that ideal. But if it's streaming, like in a second it will giving a word. Even if it's slower than that, even it takes 40 seconds to give you the answer, at least from the very beginning, you are reading something. Okay, so you are not sitting idle. So the streaming is that process. It separates the each words or tokens, and then it's them one by one so that our responses. You cannot see it here because it's the back end. In front end, you get the idea what it did. Okay, it just basically streamed the all by token. What are the prerequisites to learn generative AI? Okay, so I'll tell you some here too. I've written somewhere. Okay, so see, the prerequisites would be learn Python, not too advanced. You don't have to learn data structures and algorithms in Python. You just have to learn basic for while statements and how to define variables, how to make functions, how to call them, and all of that. You don't have to go too much deep. Just the basic or intermediate level of Python is enough. Know about some mathematical concepts of probability, linear algebra, not calculus, not too much. Okay, but learn something about probability, linear algebra. It would be handy and good if you have some knowledge of machine learning, like how is data pre-processed and what is neural network. Other than that, you're good to go. Just Python, just basically for the first and foremost thing to start, just basically start generative AI would be just to learn how to code in Python. That you could do in a beginner level. Then you can just start exploring generative AI. Okay, so anyone has any questions or issues in this part? Go on further. So basically that's what I told you, right? It's how it is revolutionizing entertainment through images, music, and video generation. You can generate music, like if you want scary music, what I told you in Replicate, right? You can create with sounds and audios. You can also create music. If you say that I want a 40-second audio of a scary music, it will just generate it on the spot. Okay, and healthcare and finance, as I told you. So the future of AI and software engineering. So as I said, people like get some people I've seen some of my friends like get very anxious or somewhat depressed that what could happen like an AI is coding and doing all the things. Okay, so what I basically believe and always believe, like since the industrial revolution, like machines and technology have always been tools for to liberate humans, have always been tools for human liberation. Okay, so will always like the CEO of Nvidia said, like AI will not replace you, but the person who knows how to use AI efficiently will replace you. Okay, because it will not like do all of your tasks, but it will make you efficient to like reduce the time or the complexity by 40 to 50%. Okay, so that's the use of AI and how we are doing it. And obviously some of the jobs will be eaten up since that it is a really great advancement, and some of the jobs will be eaten up like that like junior engineers like who only create HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Some all of these jobs will AI can do, but it will also create new opportunities. So you will always your ability to adapt to learn always the most important thing you want as a software engineer. So that is so like emerging new roles. Like we didn't know, but we have an emerging role of the like a 2 or 3 years that we had no idea what that was, but we have of other form of engineer. Okay, so technologies will advance and you will only have to learn technologies and adapt to it. And it's not that someone will eat your job or anything. Okay, so key skills for thriving in an AI-driven world is so master AI ethics. So this is a very important thing. See that the thing that was of AI token. It's also why AI tokens is to track what you are doing with the AI. Okay, so like we have to track, we have to within the confines of ethics, how we use AI, and we have various new domains that will ensure and check that to make the AI system very secure. Okay, data privacy. With generative AI, we don't know what is real or what is generated. So yeah, data privacy is the real data would be very private, because if your data is exposed, you can always like create new data out of it. Someone could just create new data out of it. Okay, obviously what I told you, staying updated to technological advancement. Okay, so that is what I always emphasize, and I emphasized it here enough that you just have to stay uploaded to technological and advancement, and you are good to go. Okay, problem solving skills. So of course, as an engineer, you should have this is the basic, most important thing that you should have. Adaptability. That is, yeah, that like the theory of evolution. It was not the survival of the fittest, it was the survival of the fittest to adapt. So that's the life of a software engineer. You have to continuously adapt to new systems, to new software, to new technology. Okay, and of course, you have to build personal projects and contribute in open source if you can. After like you have built 2 or 3 projects, you could either participate in hackathons or make open source contributions, or do both. Also, that would be even better. Okay, so to summarize, generative AI technology signify a significant change on how technology operates and interacts. Okay, it has a wide application in various industries such as I told you, entertainment, healthcare, finance. The foundation is very crucial. Okay, so you should always know Python and areas of machine learning. Ethics, obviously, ethics. You should always have ethics while creating any code, or like it's very vital in the field of generative AI, because you can generate information, generate proof or anything. So it's ethics is very important in generative AI. Okay, stay updated with advancement and enhance human capabilities. AI is there to augment human skills. It is not to replace you, it is to enhance your productivity and augment onto human skills, and you have to take advantage of that. So any questions, any issues, anything that you would like to ask about generative AI or anything or any code? I can show you some code of how we use, like how we code in a company, how we code in while we are producing the production. Okay, so should I show you how we code? Like obviously till now, till 2 or 3 months back, I didn't know how to code in a company, like the company level code that needs to be scalable and all of that. So I learned it past years too, and it was quite a journey. Like I would have to like, what are we doing here? Why are we doing this? So it was quite difficult to adapt. So do you all want me to show you a code that is how we code in companies? Okay, first I'll tell you what is AWS Lambda. Okay, I'll just Google search AWS Lambda. So what AWS Lambda essentially is, it is a way to run your code without thinking about the infrastructure scalability of it. Okay, so first, when earlier we used to maintain the backend, we used to maintain servers. We have to check their scalability of how much people will use it, and we'll have to scale it up or down according to that. But with the introduction of AWS Lambda, the servers of AWS will take care of it, and we don't have to worry about scalability or scaling up or down, or if anything is working, AWS will do all of it. So basically, most of the people now run their code on AWS Lambda backend code so that it's scalable automatically. So I'll show you a code. Okay, so the first thing, be it generative AI or anything else, always create a virtual environment. Always create a virtual environment and run all your code, that code and everything inside the environment, and have a requirement.txt like this. Okay, this is the requirement.txt file. It would be generated with the command of pip freeze or pip reqs that you can see. And then we just install all the requirements, and inside a virtual environment we have requirements, all the files that we need to import. Okay, so basically what AWS Lambda does is, we'll have an event. I am testing it at my local, so I created a event. Okay, I created an event, but it will be passed through invocation when we use it in production. Okay, so my event is an something that it is a transcript. It's a transcript of a script. Yeah, and what I am doing is, I'm creating a prompts. I'm creating prompts to generate scenes. Okay, so event lambda handler. So it is the first invocation. Whenever it is invoked, we get the event, that is the data, and we get the context. It is information about the data. In my code, I am not using that. So, but it's a good practice to write it, always write it, okay, the context, but I'm not using it in my code, so it's showing a somewhat blurred. Okay, so this is the data created test on my local. This is an event, that is the transcript, and all the user ID, session ID is all the worry about, and then I call the lambda handler. It's the event. I pass this event. Okay, so first of all, we get the lambda handler. We check, we log message event received. So log message is not something you print here, even though for me it will print here, because the log message is the function that I created. What is the log message? The function, if my deployment is local, it will print here in the terminal. If else, if the level is info, it will, like in a AWS server, it will log as error or as critical. Okay, so that's how we log a message. After that, I'll check the environment variables. I've created environment variables because, see, this OpenAI key, the output SQS key, these are some things that we don't want everyone to see, that we didn't want to expose it. So we create environment variables so that it is not in our code, but we have stored it somewhere. Okay, we have stored it in my environment variable that I would get here. I'll show you. See, I get here like this, os.getEnv, and what was my environment variable. Okay, so I'll check if necessary environment variables are there. If not, it will throw a message, log error message. Like now I get into a records, that is event. I'll get my body. From the body, I will get the transcript, user ID, session ID. Okay, so I'll run the code once and show you. See, event received, first part, event received, then it will generate the scenes. Here it generates 13 scenes. Okay, and then generated scenes successfully, then push to SQS. SQS is something that is it is a queue. That is a queue in AWS that is used to transfer data from a lambda to another, or a three bucket to another. Okay, what I'm basically doing is, I'll get a transcript, I'll generate scenes, and then I'll push each scene into a queue to generate images. Okay, that is what I do. And to generate scenes, the basic generative AI part is here. Generate scene prompts. I'll get the API. This is how I get the API, os.getEnv. I've stored it in my system message, in my settings.json. Okay, so I have used structured outputs. That is somewhat of an advanced topic. If you want, you can read from the OpenAI blog what is structured outputs. It's basically ensures that the output that I get is in a structure of a list that has integer, that is the sequence of the scene, and a string, that is the scene prompt. Okay, so that is basically what structured output ensures. That is always ensure that like it will always give the output in that format. So like never hallucinate or anything. Okay, so this is what I do. And system message, and this is the part of prompt engineering. Okay, so what was prompt engineering? We give a, like, do you all remember like how we gave a system message in LangChain, like you are an assistant that is give me humorous reply. Okay, so that is a system message that we're giving here, and this is the part which is called engineering prompts. This is just a message. This is a system message that I wrote to ensure that the output that I get is exactly how I want it. Yeah, so you are an AI assistant that generate detailed scene prompts for video transcript. For each prompt divided by second by 3, the total duration is inferred by the last timestamp. And for I want an accurate prompt, I need to follow these steps: identify subject, describe the key action, outline the setting, capture the emotion. Okay, this is the example. I'll create all of this. Okay, and inside prompt engineering is also very various things that you have to learn, such as the concept of chain of thought of few sort prompting. Okay, so any doubt about what you should first learn, or the how much you should learn Python or machine learning regarding generative AI? Next 3 years of my degree course. Okay, so to get the most out of a BCA degree, so first of all, obviously the most important thing is data structures data structures and doing one skill of that uh, tech stack. Basically, the most common one and the most that helps you land a job would be Merl. Like first to Merl, like you have knowledge of front end, back end, and database. Then jump on to other things, and you can always include Merl on the other things. Like if you do machine learning or generative AI or anything, you have knowledge of front end and back end and database. It's always handy. And while searching for jobs too, they always want a person who knows how to manage from front end, back end database. So yeah, focus on DSA and do first if you are in second year, do more, and after that you can explore the domains. Okay, so Kaggle data sets on your own project. So basically, when you go to Kaggle, you have different data sets and you also have a code. I haven't seen Kaggle in a long time. Let me check. Okay, just a minute. It's been a year since I used Kaggle. Then I'll tell you basically what Kaggle provide you various different data sets. Okay, so you have to download the dataset in a zip file, and you can also see codes. You have contests in there on that particular dataset. You have codes by various people. You can also refer those codes to understand what is done in the dataset and to learn how to use that dataset and how to explore the data and get meaningful insights. So basically, download the zip file of the dataset and see the codes next to it. And yeah, that's how basically you work with Kaggle datasets on your projects. Just download the zip file and see the reference codes. Okay, thank you guys. Yeah, and if anyone has any doubt, you can always text me. I'll reply or I'll like try my best to solve your doubt and guide you. Google Colab Notebook better for ML. So Google Colab is hosted in the cloud, so you don't have to.
Doubt he just raised. So yeah, Google Colab Notebook is better for ML, Vidish, but it is given in the Cloud Console itself. It is better for ML because it has this particular GPU and TPUs, which are better for deep learning and testing and training models. So if in particularly for ML or machine learning models, yes, Google Colab is a better option. I think that's it, Raja. We should wrap this meeting up now. Okay.